25th of December. This is Rabbi Levitt. Gemora.
Good morning again. And good morning, Rabbi Levitt again. I've got a message from Meir. He had to go, but he wanted to say bye-bye to you for this morning. But he
Oh,
had to go.
very good.
So I said
Thank
I'd
you.
say bye-bye for you.
Thank you.
Rabbi, I think we finished on 116 before the third explanation. Does that sound familiar? Rabashi, Omar?
Yeah. Right. Okay, let's start from there. I guess we read the Rashi for the second teretz. Okay, so we're up to Ravashi. We're on Kuf Tes Zayin Amid Beis. Gemora brought a ton of Rabbanan about the caravan that got plundered by marauding troops, and then someone got up and rescued the property, and so now the question is, what's the case where if he doesn't say anything, it belongs to the original owners. If he does say, I'm saving it for myself, he's able to take it for himself. He's not called a Goslin. And the Gemara asked on that. It should depend on whether the property was retrievable or not. Because if it was not retrievable, so then it's Hefker, and even if he doesn't say anything, it's his. And on the other hand, if it was retrievable, they didn't give up, so then even if he does say it's his, it's not. So the two answers so far. Now we're up to Rav Ashi, the third answer. And if you want to know where this is located, so the Rav Ashi is just a few lines, 2 lines from where the Mishnah starts. 2 lines up from where the Mishnah starts. The Mishnah appears on basically the last few narrow lines before you get to the wider lines. On Kuf Tes Zayin Amid Beis.
116b4, right-hand column, second paragraph.
Okay. Good. So, Alan, you want to read Rav Ashi?
I'd rather not.
The third explanation. Alan? A third explanation.
Rabashi, right?
Yes.
Everyone's reading it. I'll do on page 116 before the last paragraph. All right.
Okay.
Are you reading it? You're reading it, Alan.
Should I start the third explanation?
Can't read.
The third explanation, Amar Rav Ashi.
Ravashi Omar. Ravashi said, in fact, the Marisa discusses a rescuer who is neither a partner nor a worker, but an ordinary person. Kasher Yerchol Lahatzil Al Yudei Chanachok. And the Bryce's case is where the owner of the plundered property is able to rescue the goods, but only with difficulty. Gali the Tihor La'atzmo, if the rescuer revealed his intention to keep the goods, he has rescued the property for himself. The silence of the owner in the face of his declaration indicates that they have despaired of retrieving the property. Therefore, the rescuer may keep it. Lo gale the asi la emsa. If the rescuer did not reveal his intention to keep the goods, he has rescued the property for everyone. Since the owners can rescue the property or buy it with difficulty, we must assume that they did not despair of retrieving it. Therefore, the rescuer must surrender the property.
Okay, let's take a look at Rashi. This Rashi here is Rav Ashi Omar.
Rav Ashi Omar, he says, La'olam be'inish ba'alma. And what is be'inish? By himself?
Inish, with a person, the Alma, literally with a person from the world. Meaning, as opposed to the first two answers that said, "Oh, this person is a partner with all the other partners in the caravan," or the second answer was he's a hired day worker who's been hired by the caravan. Here, we're not saying that he's a partner with the other partners in the caravan, or that he's a worker that's working for them. He's just a man from the world.
Mm-hmm. And then it says, "And kagon b'yichol hatzio ayidei hadchak," and it is when we can say that he's able to save it, with difficulty.
Right. So this is the case. This is the case that Rav Ashi is saying, that this is the circumstances under which the property is right now. Now, just to give you a hakdama, introduction to what the Gemara's question was, to do some review. What the Gemara's question was, the Gemara reasoned as follows. The Gemara said, look, if Yochol lahatzil, if the property is capable of being saved, so then afilu seifa nami la'at emsa. Even in the case where he says, the rescuer says, I'm saving this just for myself, not for anybody. If it's capable of being saved, so then he's not. His words have no force and effect. He's only going to be saving it for the owners of the property. That's what it means, the emsa. On the other hand, if the situation is that the plunderers, pirates, they got the property and it's not capable of being gotten away from them, if we judge the case to be such a case like that, so then we say, Rashi said before, then we judge all the people in the caravan that owned this property that they are miyayesh, they're despairing of their property, and in which case, then even if the person doesn't say anything at all, the rescuer, he will be able to take it for himself, because it's basically hefker. He's taking it from hefker. It doesn't belong to the people anymore. They already despaired from it. So now Rav Ashi is giving an answer. The case is neither a case where they're not able to save it absolutely, or a case where they're absolutely, yes, able to save it, but it's a case in between. It's a case that it could be saved, but with difficulty, with a certain amount of difficulty. Only like that it could be saved. So now, so the Gemora, so Rav Ashi says, accordingly, Gale Daite, if the rescuer was going to reveal his das, that he is saving these items only for himself, and he doesn't intend to share these saved items with anybody. So that's what the Brisa says. So then his words will have an effect, and he will effectively be able to keep all the things for himself. Ilo gali daite, but if he does not say anything, he doesn't reveal that that's his intention. He just goes ahead and saves it without stipulating that he's saving it only for himself. So then we say le'emsa. It will belong to all of the previous owners that own the items. They'll be able to claim it, all the items. Now we have a Rashi over here, and Rashi is going to explain to us why it is that is so, what Rav Ashi says, because it needs explanation. We're looking to understand why it is that if in this in-between case, so then his words will have a force and effect. The Gemora's question was, his words shouldn't have any force and effect at all. It depends totally on whether the owners were me'ayish, whether they despaired because it was impossible to save, or whether it was possible to save and they weren't me'ayish. But it makes no difference what he says. Now Rav Ashi is saying, yes, it's going to make a difference what he says, like it says in the Brisa, because we're talking about a case where it's efshel lahatzil ayidei adchak, yochol lahatzil ayidei adchak. How does that explain the Brisa? And we ask, who would like to read this Rashi? Dibra Maskil, Amar la'atzmi.
Amar la'atzmi. I'll read it.
Okay.
Vishamo ba'alim vishasku velo masru atzman asach de as yahu
Masak the type.
vigalu de
Yeyush. Oh.
below da'o
Sign up, Shai.
mimaser nif shaihu umihu ika de yahu lin le atzil ha lehadai afilu shamo vishasku lo kani de mas chama v'machma lo ayish. Wow, it's a long one. That he regarded the owners.
They heard. The owners heard Shamu.
You heard the owners. What is shachku?
Shatku, they're quiet. Shatek, they were quiet.
You heard that the owners were quiet and they did not asru, I don't know.
Masru atzman. And they did not give themselves over. They didn't lift a finger, so to speak. They didn't give themselves over to doing anything about it. The person, here's a rescuer. It's a mission that's going to require difficulty in order to save the items. And he announces to everybody, I'm going to go and save this property for myself. So now, says Rashi, V'shomu bailim, and the owners of this property hear what he says. So what's their response? Their response is, Shosku, they are quiet. They don't say anything. V'lo masru atzman, and they don't lift a finger. They don't give themselves over to endeavoring to try to save their items. Rashi continues.
Asak,
Asach datayu
the tai, the who.
lo masrun atzman. Asach datayu.
I don't know what asak is. Asak.
Pesach comes from the language of speaking, I believe. Datayu is their mindset, their das. Asak datayu. They're something about how they've their mindset has been
Revealed that they give up hope.
Yeah, I think it might mean that you know they thought it through. In other words, they realize what's going on. They realize that this guy's going to get their property, and he's announcing that he's going to take it for himself. Asak datayu. This went up in their mind. V'galu, and they revealed thereby by saying nothing. The Ayush, that they have despaired on their item. This amounts to a despair on their part.
Right. And they did not need what is meiser?
Moser nefesh. And they're not willing to be, they're not interested, they don't want to be Moser nefesh. This is what Rashi says it's going to take in order to rescue these items. Mesiris nefesh. Putting oneself out. Having a difficult time. They're not willing to have a difficult time in order to retrieve their items from these plunderers.
Right. Umi hachi the chulin and the one here that is able the atzil to go the hadia. What is hadia?
Clearly and openly.
Afilu, even shamo vishasku. I don't know.
Okay. So Rashi is saying mihu. However, after having said that these people in this case have effectively expressed their mindset that they are giving up on this property and they're relinquishing their ownership of this property. That's what Yeush constitutes. Rashi then turns to a different case, not our case. Miu, however, heicha, in the case where where the property would have been capable of being rescued, lehedya, meaning it's openly apparent. It's openly apparent that the property would be able to be rescued, and it wouldn't require such mesiris nefesh. It wouldn't require such difficulty in order to do so. in such a case like that, so then Rashi continues, afilu,
even mas-o
shamu,
some samu, even if it's close,
even if they hear,
the shachku, I don't know what shachku is.
and are quiet,
And what?
They're quiet about it.
Even if they hear and they're quiet, they don't acquire the maschima lo ayush. They don't acquire it because they gave up hope.
Because the stomach.
the rescuer will not acquire it in this case. If he goes and rescues it, he will not acquire those items. The mistama, because based upon the factual scenario that's been given, this would indicate that in a case such as that, without knowing anything else, lo iayish, we would not be able to assume that the owners of this property were despairing of their item, because it's a case where it's yocholin lahatzi lehedya. It's a type of a case where the owners can retrieve it from these plunderers, and in such a case where they can do so, and it wouldn't take such great effort or sacrifice or difficulty to do so, so then we could safely assume, says Rashi, that in such a case the owners were never me'ayish on retrieving their item, and so therefore, even if this guy comes and says, "Oh, I'm going to save it, and it's all going to be for me," and even if the people hear him say that and they don't respond to anything, they quiet, we can still, Rashi says, still we cannot assume that they have been me'ayish. On the contrary, we would assume that they were not me'ayish, and therefore, if and when he does recover the items, he will not have acquired them. He will have to give them back to the original owners. Okay, so there you have it. Yes. Questions?
I would think that their silence would tell us that they are me'ayish.
The reason that they were silent is because it wasn't because they were me'ayish. It was because they're quiet people. Only when there's a reasonable, only in the case where there's a reasonable possibility that they're despairing of their property, such as a case where the only way that it would be able to be recovered, the property, is in the case that Rav Ashi is talking about. It would only be recoverable with difficulty and with sacrifice and putting oneself out. Then we start to say to ourselves, "Oh, it's quite possible that a person will just say, I'm not interested in doing that." And so therefore, that together with the fact that he's quiet when he hears this rescuer saying, "I'm going to save these things and I'm going to keep it all for myself." Then if the owners don't speak up, so then we say that, that's an indication that they have in fact despaired, and therefore the one who does save it, under those circumstances, if he stipulates that it's for himself, he will acquire that property, that recovered property. But in this case, it's a different type of a factual scenario. It's capable of being retrieved, and it's not going to be so difficult to retrieve it. It's going to be capable and without difficulty, and therefore there's no reason to assume that somebody would despair of property that's capable of being retrieved without any difficulty. And so therefore we can't infer from the fact that he said nothing that he intends to forego to get his property back. Okay. Right. Okay. And that brings us to the Mishnah. That brings us to the Mishnah. And we'll start the Mishnah. We have 6 minutes for the Mishnah here. Hagozel Sode Mechavero. And we go to Roy to continue the reading, please.
Gozel Sade Machavero. If one steals a field from his fellow, Unatohu Masikin, and extortionist Masikin, then take it from him, that is from a robber. This is the law. Im Makeb Medina, who, if it is a if it's a provincial-wide plague, meaning that the extortionists have appropriated the fields of others as well. Omer La, the robber says to the owner of the field, right. So if the robber says to the owner of the field, Hooray, Shalach, Lupenecha, behold, what is yours is before you. That is to say, he is not liable for the loss of the field. Im machames Gozolon, but if the field was taken on account of the robber, Chai La'amed Lo Sodo Echad. No. Echad. The robber is obligated to provide the owner with another field.
I thought we said a property cannot be stolen.
Right? Right? So we'll have to see what this means over here. Probably means that well, we'll see what it means. We'll see what it means.
Could have got the papers for it or something.
Gozel Sodom Echavero, and then Notluhu Mesikin. So someone dazzled the property, person number one, and then there was Masikin that came along and wrenched it away from the Goslin. That's the case over here that we're talking about. So the Mishnah says, Imakas Medina he. If this is a situation which is prevalent in this locale, not just an isolated incident over here with one episode over here, seems to be a recurring problem in this locale. So then Amar Lo, Harei Shalcha Lefanecha. he will say to him, whoever he is and whoever him is, here it is. Here is your property. Here it is, right in front of you. Take it. Okay, well, in other words, that's the he who's saying this is referring to the Goslin, the original one, the first one who stole it somehow from the owner, and he is saying to the owner of the property that he stole it from, Hare shelcha lefanecha, here is your karka, here it is. I'm giving it back to you. You're giving it back to me. Now it's in the hands of somebody from the mafia. But that's what he's saying. Here it is. I'm not exercising any ownership control over it now. Here it is. That's in the case where it's a Makas Medina, this type of activity where there's where the mafia is operating over there, and this is not the only instance of land which has been taken away like this. Okay, did we read until the end of the Mishnah?
Yeah.
But if it's not a case like that, and chayav lahamid lo sada acher, he's required to give him another property corresponding to the one that was taken by the mafia. So that's the nafkamina between the two cases. Whether the original Goslin will be required to provide the party that was stolen from with a comparable field or not. Okay, so we'll see you tomorrow, Be'ezus Hashem.
Amen.
All right.
AK.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Okay.
Bye for now, everyone. Bye.
Hope everybody's doesn't have any water leakage in their house, and certainly not in their neighbor's house below. And everything should be good.